you think that Walz was being too affable with someone who said openly that he wouldn't certify an election? It's difficult to be unhinged when your opponent wants to be polite. It makes you look crazy. I think that's why you need punchy kind of like slogan things. Because if you go on the attack and the other person's just chilling, then you look unhinged, even if secretly they're really unhinged. That's the thing I have to deal with in debates when my opponent is like acting nice on stage, but I know he's like a lunatic. Yeah. Bring someone on a chat before you go. I'm Asmongold chat poll on who won. Asmongold's chat. It seems like Asmongold basically exclusively caters to the old Gamergate crowd from like 2016. So it wouldn't surprise me if they think that Vance overwhelmingly won. What does Trump got going on right now? Can you break down why the Dems' border policy is better? I'm trying to lay it out for my conservative parents and can't really find footing. The reality is, my dude, is that none of these policies actually matter at the end of the day. It's all fear-mongering and talking points. Like, go to your mom and dad and say, like, hey, how many people are illegally in this country right now? How many people have illegally crossed the border? They have no idea. Nobody really knows, right? What, like, I could be in the middle of the debate and just start making numbers up and people will just agree with me. Like, nobody has any actual idea. Like, oh, you know, maybe 50 million illegals crossed, maybe 5,000 crossed. Like, at the end of the day, I don't know if, like, it's not like you are counting the illegal immigrants or seeing them coming through anywhere or whatever. So you can kind of just basically say whatever the you want, and then it is what it is. Destiny Dodge, LOL. What do you mean Dodge LOL? If you want a policy-based answer, then the actual answer is Donald Trump won't do anything about the border because he had 4 years to do it and he did fuck all. That's the actual policy answer. The policy answer is Donald Trump did nothing when he had both halves of Congress. He sat there and he cried like a little baby bitch because he doesn't know what the three branches of government even fucking do. He tried to write legislation via executive order. He failed miserably at doing it. He built probably 2 pickets of the wall that Mexico was supposed to pay for. They didn't. And then as soon as the next administration came in, everything was gone because nothing was even done legislatively. And when we had Biden in office, we had a bipartisan bill that was going to shore up a lot of issues relating to border security and the asylum-seeking process that would have actually helped. And then Trump scuttled that. So the answer is, in office, Donald Trump did fuck all about the border, and out of office, he sabotaged the border. So that's the Republican response to the border. And before that, we had Barack Obama, who was one of the most universally hated people when it came to immigration because of how extreme he was when it came to deportations and it came to basically having tight border policy. So that's your history. If you want to go into policy basis, then you can look at why Obama was called the deporter in chief. You can look at the monumental fucking failure of Trump to do anything when it comes to legislation because he's a fucking loser and everybody knows it. Okay, because as soon as he turns his back, everybody's laughing at him and how much of an insecure fucking retard he is. Okay, and then you can look at what Donald Trump did when he was out of office, which is just to sabotage and scuttle legislation. So there's your policy answer if you want it, but you don't give a fuck because you're fucking retarded because you're a Trump voter, right? It's a prerequisite for being a Trump voter. There's nothing I can say to you. There's no answer on heaven and earth. There's absolutely nothing I can say to you to try to convince you of what's going on. It's like trying to talk to a blind person and convince them that there's a mountain in the horizon. You can't even see it. You're fucking retarded. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Is there anything that Trump did good? Just curious as a Canadian at Destiny. I think the concept of the First Step Act was okay. I don't know if that got anywhere. I know that it passed, but I feel like I heard that they tried to cut funding to it. I think the First Step Act was probably okay. Arguably pressuring NATO countries to spend more is okay. If they, I don't know if that's like a fucking blind monk managed to do that. I don't know if he even knows what NATO is or what it's for. Warp speed for the vaccine was okay, although he sabotaged his own efforts on the vaccine by inflaming panic among his voter base that made them not even trust the vaccine. So, yeah. Gathering all of our space assets into one military branch of the Space Force was okay. Killing Soleimani, yeah, it was okay, I guess. Is the Abraham Accords good? Personally, I don't think so, but that's a whole other thing. Killing Soleimani was good. Fuck Iran. So much blind hate today, Steven. Not cool. What hate that I just gave you was blind? I literally just gave a justification for everything. You look at the conclusion. If you don't like the conclusion, you're like, wow, that sure was reasoned poorly. Why? Well, because I disagree with it. The big issue is that Trump just doesn't know how government works. So it's hard for him to even do anything effective in government. He has no idea. He doesn't know what the three branches of government are for. He probably doesn't know how a bill gets passed. He doesn't know the difference. He probably doesn't know what a tariff is. He doesn't know what the difference is between the trade deficit or the budget deficit or the national debt. He wouldn't be able to explain those things. If you ask him what a trade deficit is, who's the deficit to, he wouldn't be able to answer that. The problem is that Trump is an idiot, right? So it's hard to say like, well, what did he, look at, like he's retarded. He might do some things okay by chance, but. Do you feel like Trump or Harris is going to win this election? I mean, I feel like Harris is going to win it, but the problem is it's not even that even if she wins, it's not. The issue is you have all these mind-rotted, like retarded fucks that are like rotting our country right now. These anti-American, like anti-patriotic, like America-hating people that hate this country and hate every part of like what the country was founded upon, who are now like just here to rot their children's minds, to be a rot in the Republican Party, to be a rot on our media landscape. I don't know. I'm not sure. Donald Trump is smarter than you. I'm pretty sure my IQ is over 85, so I don't think he is. I would bet money that Trump's IQ is legitimately less than 100. I think he's probably like decently below average intelligence, just from the way that he talks, his incapability of speaking about anything with any sort of understanding or intelligence. I don't think I've ever in my entire life heard him speak about anything. I'm like, oh, at least he knows this or understands this. Even real estate, I don't think I've heard him say. But we just look at his business record when it comes to that. If Donald Trump hadn't had The Apprentice, none of you would even know who he was. You would have no idea. Donald Trump his brand is literally being a brand. I guess in a way, it's like the perfect example of a simulacrum or of the fall of the conservative party, that they voted for a guy whose brand was having a brand. That was the brand of Trump. Nobody from Omaha, nobody fucking buys Trump steaks and think they're good. Nobody knew what the fuck Trump University was and think that it's a oh shit, I'm going to go get educated here. Trump Tower and the hotels were kind of interesting in like a gaudy kind of way, and like a red tie and on a black suit kind of way, but also, how fucking embarrassing that you have Donald Trump is literally selling all of these things while he's running for office. What is that called? Using the trappings of office? It's not technically like a scandal. It's not technically incorrect or wrong, but like, like you should be, and the biggest problem with conservatives is that you guys feel no shame. Like that's the biggest issue. Like you could walk into a room and then I could find you like pulling your, entirely erect 3.5-inch dick out of a tiny fucking dog while it lays there bleeding and screaming. And then I could look at you and be like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? And you're like, I was horny, I guess. Whatever. And then you just walk away like it's normal. Like that's the kind of person a Trump voter is. They have no shame, no accountability, no responsibility, no obligation to live in reality. You guys are unhinged. Like I would kill myself if I was supporting a guy that was selling 100. Wait, this is the first edition? Are these the recent ones that he was selling too? Because he redid them. Subject to the terms and conditions here. The website offerings, including the digital trading cards, physical trading cards, and limited edition gold and platinum sneakers, are intended as collectible items for individual enjoyment only, not for investment purposes. The website offerings, including the digital trading cards, physical trading cards, and limited edition gold and platinum sneakers, are intended as collectible items for individual enjoyment only, not for investment purposes. The website offerings are not affiliated with any cryptocurrency offering or with World Liberty Financial, are not political and have nothing to do with any political campaign. All of the stupid scam shit that he's selling isn't even going towards helping him win the fucking election. It's just shit that he's using to get rich on his own. How fucking retarded do you have to be to support this guy? To own, like it's just unbelievable to me. Holy shit. You guys are unreal. You guys are fucking you guys are unreal. Kamala Harris tomorrow could give a speech about the evils of sounding, and the next day conservatives would be lining up to shove glass tubes down their cock and smash them, saying that they're owning the libs. You guys are unhinged. You're delusional.
God damn. All right. Who was that directed at?
It's Trump voters. They're subhuman. It's insane.
Dude, they really are. Okay. All right. Let's get into it. How was the debate? What'd you think? Who won?
I'm going to give you my big boomerang roundabout take. Ready?
All right.
I actually think Walz won.
Okay.
The reason why I think that is I actually think that Vance had better formal stage presence when it came to bobbing and weaving and answering questions. I think Vance actually did a phenomenal job redirecting and pivoting from everything that they were trying to pin on him, from either him or Trump. I think he did a really good job at that. I don't think Walz had like as banger of a performance as Dems would have wanted. Walz is very, very good in a casual setting. I think he excels there. In a formal setting, especially in the beginning, I don't think he excels as much. And he's also, they're back to the thing where they're like trying to rattle off a whole bunch of policy points, which I don't think is as effective. I think they just need punchy slogans more. But I don't think that the Trump fan base gives a fuck to see Vance on stage, like being cordial and agreeing with Walz. So in a roundabout way, even though I think Vance technically had the better performance, I don't think that this increases turnout or exuberance on the conservative side, and I don't think it's driving up negatives on the Walz side. So I think that it's either a wash, or I think Walz comes out slightly ahead just because of the type of delusional, insane fan base Trump has built for himself. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, well, before Peace Code and Econoboy give their terrible, and now I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm still undecided. There's no question that Vance had the better polish, that he was the better performer. However, I think that Walz gave excellent answers on abortion, healthcare, gun control, and particularly on January 6th when he redirected the question, which is who won the election. It's such an obvious fucking question with an obvious fucking answer. I didn't expect him to ask Vance that question. And I don't think Vance was expecting that question either, because he didn't seem prepared for it, but he probably should have been.
That's true, but because conservatives can rewrite history, even if it's on video, can rewrite everything. All he has to do is redirect to the Hillary Clinton, redirect to Russiagate, redirect to all of that. And despite the fact that Trump's campaign did collude with Russia, despite the fact that Trump's campaign did benefit from actual Russian hackers leaking media, despite the fact that Trump's campaign does enjoy both institutional coverage and coverage on X in the form of J.D. Vance's stuff getting banned when it was leaked there. There's always a redirect for conservatives to avoid facing the music. They never have to live in reality.
Sure.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sure. And Vance, no, I was going to say, and Walz didn't give the knockout rebuttal to that, you would have, or even I would have, like, had you been better prepared for it. But he did, make the points like, listen, there is a false equivalence. No Democrat has done what Trump did. I don't run Facebook. January 6th wasn't a Facebook ad. I think it was a pretty good answer to that. And the fact that happened at the end of the debate, I think rescues it for Walz for me. Like, had that been, at the beginning of the debate, and Walz didn't have that knockout performance at the last, I would have probably comfortably said that Vance won the debate. But because that happened at the very end, it kind of like revived it for me. So I'm still torn on it. But
I don't know if I like that answer, that I don't run Facebook, because it felt like he was. Oh, there were two really big problems. I don't like that answer. I don't run Facebook, because he made it sound like that Democrats were censoring people on Facebook. I think there are better ways to address that talking point, right? That like the kid that you discipline the most in class is the one that makes the most noise. It's not our fault if conservatives get dinged more on misinformation when you guys don't believe in, the results of the last election that happened under Trump, or when you don't believe in the vaccine that Donald Trump pushed, right? I think these are way better redirects than just saying, well, it wasn't us. And Trump was the only candidate that, for personal reasons, made a direct request to a social media company to take something down because it hurt his feelings. I think that always needs to be front and center. Trump made that request. No equivalent request, to my knowledge, has ever come from any other administration.
Well, I just want to say, like, no, I totally agree with you. Like, even in the grand scheme of things, that was a suboptimal answer. Even like the January 6th knockout blow, like that was good for Walz. And I think it was good for most Democratic politicians because, quite candidly, I don't think most Democratic politicians and most Republican politicians are particularly good debaters compared to like Twitch poll debaters, for example. Like,
You guys
maybe
are all debate perverts. You don't understand the politics of joy.
maybe Buttigieg or Newsom would have been able to deliver that sort of answer, Stephen. I totally agree. But I think for like when we talk about Kamala Harris having a good debate, like it really wasn't in the grand scheme of things. That was like a C, D tier performance as far as like Twitch poll is concerned, but it was good for a sitting politician whose, formal profession is not actually debating. So that's what I mean.
Sure, I think
agree
Kamala
with-
actually did okay. Fuck, wait, real quick. There was one other thing that I thought was it was a really I don't know if he just wasn't aware of it, but he gave a really bad answer on that censorship thing. He said, "We'll fire in a crowded theater," and he talked about hate speech. The original context of that quote, where that got spread around on X, had to do with it had to do with Walz talking about not engaging in election interference. That's against the law. He just had to say that. Hey, when I talked about this legal speech, it's discouraging people from voting, giving bad information about where to vote at the polls. That's already illegal. It's not a First Amendment violation.
I'm sorry. Before Econoboy in peace, can somebody send me the timestamp, because I'm sure it's out there, of Steven listening to Walz say that he's friends with school shooters?
Oh no! Why did
I just want
based? Okay, that was
gotta
based.
see his
That was
reaction
based.
to it.
Best moment.
All right, I'll
We got
show
We
that,
Beat
you guys.
Medicare. Now we've got I Became Friends with School Shooters. And that'll be it. Those are the two best quotes of the presidential debate season so far.
Listen,
I
you
guess
got to
they're
be
eating
friends
the
with a
cats
school
and
shooter.
dogs.
He was a teacher. You don't want him shooting up your classroom. Damn. I want to be in. I want to be with Mr. Walz. His classrooms are
guy he
always
is.
safe.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think that, I
go
think that
ahead,
Tim
Ethan.
Walz did, Pisco, and I've talked about this before. I think the debates are on the presidential side mostly about beating expectations. It's one of the reasons why Trump can stand on stage and just like not shit himself,
Yep.
and he'll have 45% of people say he actually did really good. But then Kamala goes on stage and maybe takes a little bit too long to answer a certain question. All of a sudden, 40% of people right off the bat write her off and say, "Oh, she
Yep.
did horribly."
Trump regularly
that-
makes statements that if Biden would have made them, every single one individually would have
Yeah.
been a call to step down. That answer that he gave about what policy would you use to end childhood poverty on that to that economic forum, that would have been the end of Biden's campaign if he had given a public answer like that.
Yeah, and I think Walz. I think a lot of people had high expectations for Walz. Such a high energy sort of VP candidate. Very, very. He's the only. I think Kamala eventually became net positive favorability. She's kind of hovering 50-50 right now, but Walz has sort of consistently been high favorability. So a lot of people had expectations. I think Josiah, even you on Live and Learn, were saying like, I expect Walz to blow JD Vance out of the water. And Pisco brings up Pisco, you brought up a data point, which was like about 78% of people on Polymarket expected Walz to win the debate. And that just wasn't what happened, right? Like Walz stumbled a lot and didn't give great answers to a lot of stuff. And he had this weird sort of habit where he would quickly lose his train of thought where, we're going to raise the taxes. Like he would just take like a little bit too long to say that last one. That doesn't look
nervous.
good.
It was his first
Yeah.
time in DGG.
Exactly, right?
Remember
I mean,
your first time Econoboy in the Destiny's Room channel? Were you nervous?
Look, I did great. No. Not
Listen,
nervous at
I
all.
want to say some good things about JD Vance, if that's okay with you, Econoboy.
It's not okay.
He's a debate studier. He goes into the fire. He's battle tested.
He's online.
That's one of the reasons why I think that and this doesn't necessarily apply to Tim Walz, but just Democrats in general. I feel like again, I'm not saying this, this might have been strategy from Walz. It could be something else. But I think a lot of Democrats kind of rest on their laurels. They kind of rest on their Trump talking points, and they're not super agile because they don't go to the fire and they don't actually have these interactions with MAGA that are like acrimonious. And so I think that the fact that JD Vance has been over the course of the last few months constantly going after presser, he has honed his skills, and it showed tonight. That's one thing I'll say. Said, the dude absolutely is Rizless. I hope that we all agree on that. That anytime he's like, I know a woman, and that woman had an abortion. I know it was whatever that was. That is not coming across. And so, yes, if I'm assessing the debate in terms of who was the most effective messenger given the fundamentals of where they started, JD Vance takes the edge. I don't think that that's the metric we look to see who wins. If we look like to the purpose of the debate being to move people or to get people or to secure your electorate or something, I think that it's much more of a wash and much more of a potential for the tone to matter more than the actual rhetoric.
Well, there's no like significant downside to either person's debate performance today, and I think that's really the most important thing to kind of secure in these debates. It was probably never the case that one person was going to give such an outstanding vice presidential debate performance that it was really going to move the needle. But there weren't, incredibly substantially damaging clippable moments from either person. The Friends with School Shooter things is so funny though. It's going to be
good.
It's going to be a great meme for the rest of our lives.
Look better than Kamala. So I think that this was a tactical loss. Wait, can I get some copiums in the chat? Kamala Harris's victory will look so good because Tim Walz purposely. Okay. But like for real, like I don't think that those who are like all on board on the Vance pill, I think they're going a little bit too overboard. I don't think that the American people are as debate pilled as we are, and I think that we need to step a little bit out of our echo chamber.
Wait, I don't know what you mean when you say debate pilled.
Like, you know what I mean? It's not necessarily about how good you are at deflecting, how good you are at like.
I think it's absolutely. If we were debate pilled, then it would be like, Vance did horrible. He deflected on every point, and he didn't answer with substance. Any single thing ever. It was insane how illegitimate all his answers were, and invalid. He engaged in logical fallacies. That's being debate pilled. Looking at a politician who's going, oh, he managed to avoid every. Well, he avoided answering for any of Trump's crimes. I mean that in a metaphorical sense, his crimes. He pivoted to every important talking point. He managed to slide away from all of the insane shit, unless I missed it, like the eating the cats and the dogs, more or less the J6 stuff he kind of got away from. He managed to slide away from all the crazy rhetoric over the disaster relief lately. The fact that Trump has literally threatened to withhold relief and that all the governors are thanking Biden for stepping up. I think Vance got away with almost everything. He managed to stay on point. He sane washed Trump's campaign like crazy and himself to some extent. I think I'm not being debate pilled when I say I think he did a pretty good job at coming off as like a normal, like I think they're like, here's the worry. There might be Republicans that are looking at like the Trump Vance ticket like crazy because Vance is a blubbering buffoon and Trump he is a little bit crazy, you got to admit. But seeing Vance on stage tonight, maybe it felt a little bit pensish. And you're like, there's a little bit of sanity here. It's okay. That's the biggest fear, I think.
JD Vance didn't take the bait as well. That was the biggest critique coming out of the Trump-Harris debate, was she would say some shit that she knew would trigger the fuck out of Trump, and he would just talk for like 90 seconds of his 120 seconds about crowd sizes or whatever nonsense. Mm-hmm. There was a moment in the debate, for instance, where Walz said, this guy said, it was okay to make up stories if it meant, to his political advantage. And JD Vance just like doesn't address that Walz said that. He just moves past it, keeps talking about how illegals are coming into the country and spreading fentanyl across our communities. He stays on message. And again, it's almost easier for Vance to have a good debate performance because again, everyone's compared, I think, ultimately to Donald Trump if you're a Republican. Mm-hmm. It's like, you see a Republican on stage that's actually able to stay on message and not actually shit himself on stage. Wow, he did so good. And that's the sort of curve that Republicans are graded on. So my prediction would be that, I don't know, 55% of people who watch the debate say that J.D. Vance won it. 40% say Walz and 5% are unsure or something like that. And, it probably doesn't move.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a huge needle mover. I do think there is an issue too with the format. I feel this way when I debate conservatives, and there's no way to obviously set this up fairly, but conservatives thrive in environments where they get to answer questions in a long, uninterrupted manner because they can just lie with impunity. They're never held to account. They can lie about every single thing they say or do. They can lie about Trump's record, which Vance did tonight. They can lie about the facts of the matter, which Vance did tonight, and you're never held to account for it, right? Like
you're only saying that because of your debate last night where your opponent had a 45-minute opening.
Yeah, no, I mean, I literally just said that. Yeah, I feel that in my own debate format. So that's why I don't like debating conservatives. You should be able to interrupt a conservative because they lie like they breathe, effortlessly and without thought. And if you allow a conservative to just ramble off a whole bunch of they'll rewrite history in front of your face. It's 1984 where you're at war with a different country halfway through the sentence of the party leader. That's how Republicans function. And if nobody's there to call them out on it, then you can whitewash or sane wash so much of the history of their record in office, and it's unreal.
Is Walz
No,
in
especially-
some way responsible for that? Because he did and like say, I agree with this and I agree with that, and in a way he is like, shouldn't he be more aggressive? Shouldn't he be more acrimonious?
Yeah, but it's really hard to be aggressive when the other guy's being so, what would we say, magnanimous? But when the other guy's being like decently, like imagine like Vance says like, wow, Walz, I just want to hold on real quick. I didn't know that your son, saw that shooting. That was tragic. And then Walz is like, well, you Republicans, you don't do anything about gun violence. Like you would look unhinged. You
Pisco,
can't. Yeah.
You cannot let the rage flow through you, Pisco. You must control your anger.
That's why it kind of seemed like I didn't know who was trying to out nice each other, or like if they both went into the debate trying to be more magnanimous, because Walz was very positive throughout the entirety of that debate, and I wonder if they were both going in with that strategy, and it just kept on going. Like,
well,
in
it's
this
part of
cycle.
that's been part of Walz's success and why his favorability ratings are so high. The reason Vance did it obviously is because he has to make up ground. I mean, his favorabilities, I think he's negative 11 points for at least prior to this debate, so it makes sense why he did what he did. I mean, for me, and there's a risk I'm talking out my ass here because I can't quite remember the specifics of the question, but one shocking moment to me, or one like illustrative moment, was the questions about the timeline, for example. So when they turned to Walz and they said, hey, listen, 35 years ago you went to China and you said recently that you went at this point instead of that point. And then
I misspoke. I'm sorry. Like, what did you
No,
say?
hold on. No, that wasn't the joke that Josiah was making. The joke is, why the fuck are you asking this question? What the
Right,
fuck?
exactly.
True,
In 1983, on a touch-tone phone, on a rotary phone, we intercepted a conversation where you told your niece that you actually got her a $40 Barbie doll, and we actually went to Walmart and we pulled the receipts, and it was only $24.99. So
It's so
why did you?
fucking true. And they didn't follow up. They followed up on that one and gave him the most awkward pause. Of
Oh
all
yeah,
time.
and they let it hang. They let it hang. He finished his answer, and they sat there and they just stared him down. It was like an Anything Else episode. Holy shit! It was like Jesus Christ.
And the next question, I thought it was going to be parody. They're like, Mr. Vance, you called Trump Hitler. And they didn't follow up on that alone.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. Like the juxtaposition. Like, yeah, the follow up is okay. So moving forward in the timeline, 31 years.
Yeah.
JD Vance
To
you
something
referred
substantive, by the way, to the current president that's running, right now. If Walz had said he was the tank guy, he was like, yeah. So I noticed that 34 years ago, you said you were out buying groceries and then you stopped the tanks or whatever. Like, then I can understand he's lying about some crazy history. But like, Jesus Christ, or like, yeah, I was defending kids getting slaughtered in Tiananmen Square.
The thing is, okay,
was that? Wait,
the
hang on.
moderators.
No, wait a
The
minute.
moderators.
We gotta.
Yeah.
What was the? I want to say the question was like, you said it was July, but we went back and
It was in
checked.
spring, but he said it was in
August.
spring, but it was in summer. Yeah, it's just stupid.
You guys are totally right. The fucking moderators, because the first minute and 20 seconds of his answer was just fine, but it was the moderators that just made it so awkward by following up. He's like, well, I just missed. It's like, what is he supposed to say? He's already
He
answered
could do
the
that
question.
better. He should have been like, guys, the American people have more pressing issues than this misspeak that I did that many years ago. This is a ridiculous question. Or I don't know. Like, how can you make that any more weird than he did?
Well,
The problem is that the media is obsessed with appearing unbiased. That's the issue. And Republicans, they conduct themselves like children. Again, you've got like two people who enter a room, one literally has shit himself and smeared some of the fecal matter across his face, and the other guy, forgot to comb his hair, and then somebody tells you need to give the exact same level of critique to both of these people about their appearance, and there's just no way to do that without it being fucking insane. And that's it's insane. It's insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
surprised. I'm surprised certain issues. I don't know. Maybe it's just because they fell out. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they focus tested things and they just realized these things weren't good talking points. But like, things like Walz's military record didn't come up. He never mentioned price controls. That stuff didn't come up either, which is kind of surprising. I mean, that seemed like, at least for a decent chunk of time, that seemed like the main criticism of Vance and the Kamala sort of policy platform, those two things. And in both debates, those things didn't come up. So kind of surprising, but maybe Vance didn't think it would play very well.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. The false parody is something that I am really struggling with, and I do think that people should comment on that more. JD Vance lost his shit when they fact checked him about the Haitian migrants, and again, it's one of those things that they didn't spend a lot. They didn't.
You
really
said
spend-
you wouldn't fact check. Is
Yeah,
one of
the
funniest
fucking
things.
answer to that. Like now,
Oh,
Nora,
come on, what are we doing
Nora,
here?
Margaret, you said you wouldn't do that, guys. I mean, come on, I got to respond to that. Like, it's so fucking weak. But it'll be interesting to see what right wing media does with this, because I just saw a thing of Megyn Kelly losing her fucking shit on CBS for
He's gone off
fact
the deep
checking.
end.
Dude, she's unhinged at the moment. So what do you think, Stephen? What do you think? Are they going to say that this was a blowout for Vance and that the moderators were in the bag
Obviously.
for Walls? What do you
Yeah.
think is the talking point? Gonna be
I mean, yeah, it's
from,
either a
right
blowout
wing
for
media?
Vance or the moderators were rigged, right? So it depends on so we just have to see what the MAGA talking points on Twitter are. I guess. What time is it right now in Moscow? Are they awake yet to give the next set of marching orders?
That was lazy.
What was lazy?
Also-
You have to stop accusing everyone of being a Russian plant, Stephen.
First of
like,
all,
"I don't
Benny
think I will."
actually was, number one. And number two, Tim Pool, who runs one of the largest political podcasts in the United States and the world right now, hasn't taken accountability for, or reckoned with the fact at all that he got paid half as much money as Hunter Biden did in the 10 years that he worked for Burisma in 1 year doing content for a Russian plant shell organization. Fuck no, I'm going to bring that up all the fucking time. And if they don't like it, they can fucking sue me. That's what they keep threatening to do. That's the only reason I go hard on that Benny dipshit too, is because he keeps saying he'll sue people. So did Glenn Greenwald. So I'll just keep saying it until somebody does it. Otherwise, they can fuck off. That's insane.
Well,
It's crazy.
Tim Walz sued someone.
What?
Tim Walz sued. Oh wait, did I say Tim Walz?
Tim Pool.
Yes, she did.
Oh my god,
Shut
I
your
have Tim
fucking
Walz
mouth,
syndrome.
Pisco. How dare
Uh-oh.
you?
Oh
Jesus.
god,
Christ.
what's wrong with me? No, Tim Pool actually did sue Kamala's campaign though, so you just gotta
Yeah, I
be
saw
careful.
that.
All right? I don't want you to be sued.
Well, I've got Pisco to represent me.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun,
Hey,
dun.
did
I
you
do
also
want Stephen to be
catch
sued.
how?
It would be good content.
Did you also catch how JD Vance walked back his logic in a certain respect? So like he kept saying, Harris is vice president now. Why can't she snap her fingers and make it happen? She's vice president now. Make it happen. And then when Trump's failures were brought up, then he wanted to appeal the separation of powers. He's like, listen, just because you're president doesn't mean that you can just snap your fingers and sign things into law. You got to you got to negotiate things with Congress. It's shit like that really gets under my skin, because we hear this refrain from MAGA Republicans. I hear it all the time. Harris is in charge right now. She's really not, but she's in charge right now. She could just make it happen. But by that logic, Donald Trump is objectively less fit to be president because he got less of his agenda accomplished than Biden Harris got of theirs. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like, there's two things that they run from that I don't like. One is this, why hasn't Kamala made it happen? It's the vice president. You have no direct role. But if you want to say, well, what about the administration? The administration has made a lot of things happen. Like all of the major legislation that was passed under the Biden administration are things that actually happened. Like you can't pass infinite legislation. What else do you want to do? Right? Like you can only do so much. And like you said, Trump was president for 4 years. He made nothing happen. So why would we, with both halves being owned by the Republicans, he made nothing happen. So why we would expect that to change?
yeah, he had a greater share of government than Biden Harris ever did, because he also had a sympathetic Supreme Court. Biden Harris had, control of both chambers of Congress during their first 2 years, like Trump did of his, but they also had to go up against a hostile Supreme Court from the very beginning. So Trump had even less excuse not to get his shit accomplished. And I do think Walz made the point, because Vance tried to suggest that Trump strengthened Obamacare and tried to protect
Oh my
Obamacare.
God.
That
That
was such a
rewriting, that needs to be like, you need to get screamed down. It was only McCain, who is hated, by the way, universally by Republicans now, by the magtarded people, okay? It was only McCain that prevented the ACA from being completely destroyed. And the idea that now conservatives want to try to take credit for parts of it, for pre-existing conditions,
It's even worse, Stephen.
That's
They were
disgusting.
in court. They were all in court, and the Trump administration was arguing that the Affordable Care Act was unconstitutional because they got rid of the tax penalty for the individual mandate.
Mm-hmm.
Trump was in court asking the court to delete the ACA. So it's like
During COVID.
during
fucking
COVID, in the
COVID.
run up to the election, while Amy Coney Barrett was being considered as a Supreme Court nominee.
Well, it's also bizarre because I feel like the Republican sort of caucus behavior should be pointed out more. Like, for instance, on paid family leave as an example, right? JD Vance pretends to be in favor of that on the debate stage. Oh yeah, that's something that we could work on. Republicans had an opportunity to support a package that included paid family leave. 95% of Democrats, which is to say literally everyone besides Joe Manchin, supported it. 0% of Republicans supported it, right? None of them supported it. None of the Republicans supported the expansion of the child tax credit. They didn't support, protecting access to IVF. They certainly don't support reinstating Roe v. Wade. It's this weird double standard that you see from some far left people and also Republican actors where it's like, why aren't the Democrats doing anything about this? Like, guys, 95% of Democrats would support like all of these things. We can't get any Republicans to support
But it's
any of these things.
it's true, but there needs to be like, I knew a 12-year-old who got, and then she got, and they have to a partial birth. Like, it's so wordy. They just need they need punchier ways to get these points across. And I wish that it wasn't such a long format, like just to ask questions, right? Would you support a state banning the right of a person to own a pistol? No. Would you support a state banning the right of a raped 12-year-old girl from getting an abortion? Yes, you want to put more regulations on the latter than the former. It has to be like punchy, short things like that the other person is forced to contend with, rather than these like wordy, mouthy anecdotes and all these just make it short and punchy. They have to do a better job at this. I don't know why they ramble on so many points so much. It's so ugh.
You did a great job in your debate, Steve.
Thanks, Pisco.
You did. That
You did
guy.
all right.
I'd never heard of that guy before him, but holy shit, that dude was
You mean the
Fuck,
Nazi?
Pretty
Cringe.
crazy. Yeah.
What'd you say? You two cut
Nothing.
each other off.
I didn't say anything. Don Doyle?
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, you really just owned him. Maybe you should do these debates, Stephen. Maybe you should run.
They just need to make me the VP candidate. That's it. I need to be up there.
That vetting process, that dossier.
We're bringing up a clip from.
Yeah, that dossier is going to be interesting.
Listen, if Laura Loomer can have such a close relationship to the Trump campaign, I think they could bring
But
in
Stephen's a Democrat.
Mr. Bonnell.
It's not. No, you've missed a fundamental component. Laura
God, Josiah,
Loomer
you're
is able to
right.
be a Republican because Republicans have different standards.
You're right.
Stephen could probably run as a Republican.
Listen, if Donald
Probably
Trump is allowed to have a Vance, then Kamala Harris should be allowed to have her little Trump, and that could be me. Okay.
Wait, Stephen, what do you think would be the worst thing in your dossier that the Iranians hack?
The
'Cause it
worst
would be the Iranians.
thing in my dossier.
Because
Would it
of
really be the
your,
Iranians? I feel like it should be the Russians. I feel like I shit on them more than Iran.
It would be,
be-
Hamas and Iran,
It would be Iran.
obviously. Come on.
What would be the worst thing? Oh, we can't say it.
Yeah, don't destroy.
Is it
my
true
career.
in 2023 on stage that you brought Lav back? Oh, no.
Oh no! They know.
Oh no.
They know. I honestly, you know what? I'm just gonna say it.
The
I'm
N-word?
feeling
Oh,
there. No.
sorry.
Why would you think that? You know,
I
Connor
don't
Point
care
says
you hurt
that.
Your elbow.
Good.
Connor Point says that word.
More people should.
Why?
I don't know. It's based.
Whoa.
So anyone listening again, potentially auditing my future career, Stephen is obviously joking. That was meant to be a joke.
When I
Continue
say
to-
N-word, I mean no tariffs, guys. I'm a big proponent of free trade. I'm a capitalist and a classical liberal. I don't believe in tariffs.
That's true.
Somebody in chat saying, please ask about Shapiro. Please ask about Shapiro. What about Shapiro? Did something happen
they
with
were-
Shapiro?
They were saying, should it, in hindsight, should it have been Shapiro? And the answer is no. Look, obviously, this was not an optimal debate performance, but I think Tim Walz is still an excellent VP pick.
100%.
And I think that, again, the thing with Shapiro, at least the reporting that I saw of it was that the internal polling didn't show that Shapiro actually conferred that much of a political advantage, if at all, to him being on the ticket. And I think from the Harris camp's perspective, they would have just, if it's the case that Shapiro doesn't actually just automatically win you Pennsylvania, well, we might as well go with a guy that we actually like, have a proactive, positive feeling about. Not that they hate Shapiro, but that they actually positively like Walz. And so that's why they made that decision. And that wasn't a bad decision at all. I mean, chemistry between your president and vice president is extremely important.
I think you also have to, there's a weird dynamic at play here where, like, you have like a ringer. Like, I don't know if Vance can ever hurt Trump. He's like a mercenary. He's like a merc, right? Like, because you could destroy Vance as much. They have been destroying Vance. I don't know if that impacts Trump with his voter base at all, but Vance does have the opportunity, theoretically, to do damage to Harris or Walz, right? If the performance would have been horrible, that could have actually moved voters. So you're in a. He's like your Chris Christie. He's your ringer. He's like this torpedo that could be shot out to like take out the other campaign. But I don't know he himself, if he ever could truly do damage to Trump. I'm not sure. Trump has literally said on stage with Harris, right? He's like, I don't know what the fuck Vance says about shit. I don't vouch for any of the shit he says. It's like he actually said that and nobody gave a fuck. So, yeah, I don't know.
He should have. Well, I mean, that was an opportunity for Walz to come in during the abortion answer to be like, you don't even talk to your own. But the thing is, he's too positive. He's too positive. Well, what do you think?
It should have been Bernie. Bernie was the best VP pick.
Oh
Guys,
my God, there
come
it
on.
is, finally.
True. Yeah. Now, I think. What do you guys expect? The election's only 5 weeks away. At this point, I mean, is it knock on wood? I mean, is it pretty much just locked in the result? I mean, could things really change that substantially?
Yes.
Just about turning out your voter base, I think. Get them
I think
excited and get
I
them
think
out
a hot war. I think a hot war with Iran could change things.
I mean, we're not going to go to war with Iran. Come on. There's no way.
Stephen, can you assure that we're not going to go to war?
Oh, I don't know right now. Who knows? Hopefully not.
You're scared. Wait, Stephen,
There's
admit
no
that
way.
you're scared.
Of what?
You're afraid that there's going to be a war with Iran.
Why would I be afraid? We would annihilate Iran.
No, but I don't meme your way out of this. I'm being real with you. You're afraid of this war.
He's trying to have a real moment.
I don't know what
Steven.
afraid means. Like, I think it could happen, or I think we'll be destroyed, or I think it'd be bad politically for us, or I think it'd be bad politically. I don't know what you mean by afraid.
You are concerned in internal politics, in international politics, that a war break out.
It could happen, yeah. I don't know all of the implications of if that would even necessarily be a bad thing, though. Maybe that would be a good thing. That could go either way,
and
right?
deep in your heart, you think that Netanyahu might want it.
Well, of course, Israel wants it, right? It would put Iran off from pursuing.
Did you just say, of course, Israel wants a war with America fighting Iran?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. What do you mean?
Obviously.
Obviously, yeah. All right, this is a bit. My bad. Whew,
Yeah.
I almost got
Wait,
J-Ray.
wait.
My bad. He's doing a bit. My bad.
He's trolling.
I engaged
It's not a bit, it's
seriously
not a
on
bit,
another
it's
Pisco
not a
bit.
bit.
My bad.
I'm concerned.
I took
I'm
the
concerned.
took the bait
Wait.
again.
If that's what you feel, then I don't know. I feel like it's a big statement. It's saying you are aware of and knowing that Israel is trying to bait America into war. Is that what you think?
I didn't say Israel is trying to bait America into war. I just said Israel would want any type of like formal conflict with Iran. Of course, Israel is trying to get the bit for it. Yeah.
Are they is Netanyahu trying to bring about that outcome?
I imagine that he would navigate in ways to do it. Yes, given the opportunity to. Sure.
You don't think he's actively doing it?
It's like the history of the region. Like if the I was gonna say the Arab states. I mean, they're Persian, right? But like if the states give them a reason to do it, Israel will always jump on that reason. Israel's never de-escalating. Let me put it that way.
That's concerning for me. I hope that it doesn't happen. I hope that there's an ability to not have that happen.
I mean, you can say that, but for it to not happen from Israel's perspective, and even from our perspective, we need to have a stable domestic arena from which we can do foreign policy. We need to have
And
some
it's
kind
not
of
before an election, is what you're saying.
at any time. I mean, like I don't know if we have a vision for the Middle East right now. That needs to be there, but we don't even know. Half our country is literally retarded right now, so I don't know what we can do because again, and I stress this for anybody that wants to talk foreign policy, peace is meaningless. You can't just say peace, 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 peace. It doesn't mean anything, right? If Iran is on a path towards having a nuclear weapon or being able to create nuclear weapons, that represents a threat to not just Israel, but like technically the entire order of the Middle East. That's extremely concerning.
So how would you have answered that first question? Because I feel like it was an impossible question for Walz to answer.
I would absolutely fucking pivot and just talk about something else. Obviously, nobody wants to hear true foreign policy
You would have
takes,
been like, I really want to answer that question, but I was born in Ohio.
No,
but true.
we all want peace.
I want to listen. I'll tell you. I would say this is what I would say to that question. Okay, as a man that stood by and watched as children were murdered in Tiananmen Square, I don't want to see that type of violence ever happen again. Okay.
CBS Flash poll has JD Vance 42, Tim Walz 41, 17% say a tie.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was
Crazy.
right.
Down the middle. You were not right, Pisco. You
What did I
said slight
say?
edge Walls,
Oh fuck.
but it was a slight edge Vance, according
See
to
how
that.
Pisco just tried to conservative his way there to rewriting history?
Yeah.
If
tried.
they can do it, I
Alternative
can do
facts.
it. If they can do it, I can do it. Steven, what are the vibes you want to bring to this election stream?
Right. What? Right now?
Yes. No, the one about the election. This is the debate
I don't know. I don't know. It's either gonna be, I don't know. We'll bring something to all
Rager?
drink if we lose, and it'll just be the end for all of us. Or if we win, I'll bring something to drink and we'll get drunk and have fun.
Are we gonna try to or I don't know what white pill people, if we lose? Like, what's our role? Are we gonna try to doomer?
Yeah, I would just
what
do more.
floor? What floor is the studio on?
Yeah, lock the windows. Make everyone
No,
turn
don't.
their guns in.
I will Kool-Aid man through the window if we lose. So,
Jesus.
yeah.
Good God, dude! I honestly would be. I'd be distraught. if we
Also-
lost this election.
And I know we're just not allowed to argue anything because we're just not allowed to because conservatives
Yeah.
have been allowed to. Why the fuck is it that we all forget about COVID and COVID happening when we talk about inflation? What the fuck? I feel
yeah,
like I feel like sometimes we're on the ship of the Titanic trying to figure out why the boat is sinking, but we're not allowed to talk about the fucking iceberg. How are Democrats to blame for inflation? Why does COVID fucking disappear whenever inflation comes up? The entire the question should be: are Kamala's policies causing inflation in the United States? Are Biden's policies? It should be, I don't know. Did they cause them in the UK and France and Italy and Japan and the rest of the entire fucking world as well? Is Biden's policy so destructive that it managed to cause inflation in worse places or in a worse
Federal
manner across the entire
Reserve.
world? Like, it's so crazy.
The Federal Reserve and America's dollar economy is the world reserve. I mean, that's what he was trying to argue, Andrew Wilson, in that debate that you watched. There's no way to make it work, though. I agree. It's fucked up, but that's kind of the game we're playing. We have to play with like two.
No, fuck that game. I think I agree. We need to work aggressively to change the rules because now I've got this funny image in my head. It's it's the Titanic. It's the Titanic is face down, ass up. Edward Smith, the captain, resigns. First mate becomes captain, and then the old captain turns around and says, "Why the fuck are we sinking right now?" It's like you led us here. You were the one who crashed us into the goddamn iceberg. I mean, it is. It's bullshit. I
Wait,
think
we have a tweet from from Anna Kasparian.
no.
Oh, I already know what it is. Oh my God, Democrats need to be super scared because Vance was amazing on stage tonight, and I looked
No.
at Walls and I thought that he was fat and stupid, and I wish that
That's
Bernie
me.
and fucking I don't know what is it.
was
Sorry.
no, it was better than that.
Oh no.
It's about unemployment.
Oh,
Honestly,
no.
it drives me crazy when Dems allege that unemployment rose by tens of millions under Trump when they know it was due to the COVID shutdowns that Democrats supported and wanted extended.
Not for nothing, it is her most liked tweet that I can see. Like 17,000 likes.
17,000
Yeah.
tweets. Oh,
Yeah.
God,
I
man.
don't.
She's
I don't know
having a
what.
Pisco arc.
What the hell does that mean?
I'm trying to make it a thing. It's like when you go
Just
against
nuance sistering us. Now I think, I mean, I don't know. In the UK and Australia, politicians use the global talking point. They're like, "Oh, inflation's a global phenomena," and that seemed to work out just fine. So I don't know why Democrats don't lean into that more. They seem to be, in general, they seem to be like, I mean, somebody must have told them that like anything that could possibly be perceived as downplaying inflation is just electorally terrible. But I just don't. But like, why? It doesn't. I don't know what evidence there is of that, but
Because Stephen won't even say the economy's great right now.
What do you mean? The economy is posting all-time highs in several respects. Wait, I won't say that?
In a debate, you won't do it. You won't be like, the economy's amazing right now.
No, because you can't argue with these fucking retards because everybody is like simultaneously doomer pill. Again, conservatives are just like winning on every point. They get to say that every single part of the economy is fucking horrible, but then they can lie and say all of it was fucking amazing under Trump, and then they can blame it because of the Federal Reserve printing money, but somehow when Donald Trump ran huge deficits, that didn't fucking matter when he did it. Like, it's just, you can't win with conservatives. They're fucking insane.
Dude lied his ass off yesterday. So like Doyle was like unemployment was historically low under Trump when it's been lower under Biden. He said that prime labor force participation was lower under Trump when it's been lower under Biden. It's the lowest like in 23 years. He was even like, black unemployment was lower under Trump. It's not. HBCU funding, he was bragging about that. There's, I think $16 billion in HBCU funding under Biden. Just like one thing after another.
yeah,
They
they're all
lie with impunity.
NPCs. It feels like it's just like the same
The
recycled
same Russian talking points. True. Yep. They get printed off at the Kremlin, shipped over to the West via our Russian paid stooges like Benny Morris and Tim Pool and Dave Rubin. No,
Benny
wait, not Benny
Morris?
Morris. Wait, Benny Johnson? What the fuck is his name?
Oh no!
Yeah,
Listen,
Benny
you get one
Johnson.
misspeak, I get one misspeak, okay? Yeah. And then all the other rest of the media hack fucks, disseminate them.
On a scale of 1 to I'm friends with school shooters, how egregious was that misspeak?
It's pretty bad.
So
was
maybe Benny Morris was Russian
pretty
talking points
bad.
too. Who knows?
Yeah.
How is your relationship with Benny Morris these days?
We get along great.
Talk to him often. Yeah.
Oh God, what are we gonna do, folks? If we lose,
We're not going to
that-
lose, Pisco. The keys are on our side.
I
cannot
want to
lose.
believe. This is like when people are like, "I want to believe in a God." I want to believe in the keys. Make me believe in the keys.
Look, the keys, they are our North Star. They've always been right. All right? They predict a Kamala win. Look, the VP debate, that's not part of the keys.
That's not one of the
October
keys.
surprises, that's not one of the
That's
keys.
not on
a
the
war,
keychain.
a war in Iran, guess what?
That's
Alan
one of the
Lichtman says-
keys.
No, Pisco. Alan Lichtman said foreign policy irrelevant to the keys. They've already won enough keys to where foreign policy is not relevant, even if they lose the foreign
So
policy.
even if there's a
keys.
full-blown America declares war on Iran, that's
World War III could happen, Pisco, and the keys, they remain the same. They are our guiding light. They say Kamala will win this. All right.
I still think that she is going to win. I'm more confident than not, and I say that as a lifelong and proud
Yeah.
cynic. We need a trifecta. It's just not enough for her to win the presidency. We really need to keep the Senate.
we need.
I
the
think
Senate.
I think the polls are underestimating Democrat. I really think they are. Like I think that there is
This has been the biggest cope stream there is. That
no,
was the biggest
well, the
cope.
polls. But that's the thing, though. The polls don't look terrible for Kamala at this point in the race. I think aggregately the polls predict her winning.
Not that bad.
Right. No, well, no. I mean, I think aggregately
So-
the polls predict her winning, but I think that the polls are still underestimating her support. And I think that what we'll see, knock on wood, obviously, I think we'll see an overperformance in the polls in Kamala. Like I think that Kamala, presently right now, I'd say Kamala is going to win Georgia, even though she's slightly down in the aggregates. She's going to win Nevada, Arizona, and I think she might win North Carolina as well. Goddamn,
What about
Mark
Pennsylvania?
Robinson, American hero.
What about
you think the Mark
Pennsylvania?
Robinson will make a difference? Pennsylvania. She needs to win Pennsylvania.
I know. Do you think she'll win Pennsylvania?
She'll win. She'll win the whole Midwest. And
It's going to be a Reagan
She'll-
landslide.
Dude,
yep, 49 states probably.
53 state
I'm
landslide.
so scared all the time.
No, but I think
I-
Texas will be within 5 points. And I think that, I think that she'll win the Midwestern swing states, and I think that she'll. Right now, I would predict that she would take home North Carolina and Georgia as well, because I think that Mark Robinson is definitely.
People already
Gonna make
forgot
a
he's a
difference.
black Nazi. They don't even remember.
No
anymore.
shit, yeah, they don't care. Nothing. Remember, there is no standard of behavior or of anything.
No,
they
but
have
we're
no
not-
standards.
They don't
Again, it's
remember he's
turn-
a
it's-
black Nazi.
Again, it's turning out the bait. Look, none of us live. Or Josiah, you live in North.
Did he even
Carolina,
drop
right?
out of the race?
No,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
still in. He's still in.
in,
He
he's
burned.
in.
He
So
burned.
just-
He apparently burned his hand at a campaign rally prior to the
he was
flood.
in the hospital for burns.
Yeah. By the way, like that's the second time in his life he's prayed for a flood, and he's probably really happy
Whoa.
with how it turned out. So, I mean, listen, as a consequence of this, nobody's talking about it, and he's lieutenant governor. He may get some sympathy for this. It's possible.
There's look like Dusty, like you said though, it's about turning out your base, and I think that Mark Robinson certainly inspires 50, 100,000 extra Democrats to come out and vote against him, and obviously that makes a difference on the up and the down ballot. And so, I think that I think certainly it's the case that and I think that by the polling, she's polling a little bit stronger in North Carolina than Biden did. I think she's going to end up taking these states home. But
I hope
that's
so.
just my prediction as of today. But
I need the Zoomers. I need the Zoomers right now to rise up. I need you to rise up, Zoomers. I need you to get all up here and rise up. I just need to tell you one thing. Listen to my words. You have no idea how much a second Trump presidency will fuck up your life. Please, please, get the nearest male Zoomer next to you. Make them vote for Kamala. Make them watch Steven. We need the male Zoomer vote. I need you all to be on your best behavior.
Wow, the male Zoomers specifically.
Honest to God, listen, this is the biggest Doomer take. The fact that it's so close right now might already spell the end for our nation. I'm going to be honest.
It is an
Look,
indictment.
Jesse,
It really
it's
is.
not close. She's gonna she will win, okay, by a larger margin than what Biden won. But like, if Trump's not going to get above 46% of the vote. You know, he'll get like between 46, 47% of the vote. But I think that she's going to be able to peel away a lot of people. I think this will be a solid victory. That's my optimism. That's my optimist take.
The worst is going
right
to be,
here.
though, we're not even going to be able to deal with the amount of reply guys that are going to be so deliciously savoring our loss. Like, I'll never be able to go back to Twitter. I'm going to have to delete my Twitter.
That is unironically the thing.
I'll never be able to go in public again. Everyone is going to.
Uh,
My life will be over.
Dude, if Kamala loses this race, I will not be able to be online for at least a month. All right. And if now, to be fair, guys, let's be honest. If Kamala wins this race, we're rubbing it in everyone's face. We're making, we're hopping on Rob's North stream. We're laughing at him. We're being real arrogant and smug about it. Now pray that this happens. Pray that Kamala loses the popular vote but wins the Electoral College.
No.
That would be pray
That would be a
that
disaster.
it happens.
You
Pray
keep
that it
saying
happens.
If that happens,
You
there's
know
gonna
what,
be another-
Pisco? All three of you guys should pray that that happens, because you know what?
I pray it does.
If Donald Trump wins the popular vote and loses the Electoral College, that's the day that we get rid of the Electoral College. That's the day the Electoral College disappears, because Republicans would come around they'd be like, wait a second. So you're saying we got more votes, but we lost? And those are real votes? Not like the ones that Trump said we had in court, but those are actual votes that we lost? Hold on. This doesn't seem okay.
What the fuck?
Listen, okay, I've already made this commitment. If she loses the popular vote, wins the Electoral College, I convert to whatever religion has the biggest subreddit as of November 5th. All right? It needs to happen. It would be the funniest. That would be the funniest thing that's ever happened in my life if that happened. It's not going to happen.
Unmitigated
but-
disaster.
Can you imagine? No. Can you imagine Joe
I'd
Biden
be
tweeting
fine.
out, "We're not a democracy. We're a republic."
We are.
Oh my God, I would love it.
republic,
True.
boys. Exactly. Okay.
Guys, no, I this is real talk right now. If that happens, Stephen might be killed. Stephen might
Jesus.
be assassinated.
What?
Like, there will be pandemonium on the streets. There will be civil war. You understand
Listen.
that, right?
No, I don't understand that, Pisco. Stop being a coward. All right, they've done this to us. They can't keep getting away with it, Pisco. All right, we've earned ourselves an Electoral College victory and a popular vote loss as Democrats. We've earned it. All right, it's coming to us any day now.
We need a landslide. We need a landslide victory, and we need to bring out all the disaffected Zoomers, all the Chappell-Roan haters. They all need to come out and get with the program. That's what we need right now. I love you guys. Got to go to bed. This is too much.
So I will say again, because Steve and I did not get a chance to talk about this, but there has been reporting that the worst case scenario is being considered, that the Republican senators who may take Mitch McConnell's place since he's retiring from leadership have said that they will not commit to holding a vote for any of Vice President Harris's nominees if she becomes president and they take the majority. So
Yep.
the thing that we expected may happen, they are publicly hinting that. Like
I
6
think
months
that
in-
I think they should just do everything. I think that every single thing is legitimate. Every single thing can be a bargaining chip. Every single thing they should stop parking in real spots. They should, when they pull up to Capitol Hill, they should just leave their car in the middle of the street. We're not going to commit to parking if you guys aren't going to give us this on legislation. They shouldn't commit to washing their hands after they go to the bathroom. None of us have washed our hands today. We're not going to commit to that unless you guys are willing to negotiate on the border. Whenever they go, I'm sure they all probably walk out together because they're all chummy and they chat with each other. They shouldn't split the bill anymore or offer to pay for coffee. They should say, we're not going to do this unless you guys are willing to negotiate against the ACA or to give a little bit more on tax cuts. Every single thing when you're a conservative should be up for negotiation at all points in time. All of them. Every single thing, I think. Why not?
I feel like we're rapidly getting there. Yeah, it's sad. John Thune and John Cornyn, Cornyn being one of Econoboy's senators, is in the same boat. He won't commit to it, and they're the two that are most likely to replace McConnell when he retires from leadership. after this election. He'll still be in the Senate. He's going to basically pull a Nancy Pelosi. He's still going to serve in the Senate just like she serves in the House, but he's no longer going to be part of the party's leadership team. So that's why it is vitally important to I think it was like 19,000 people watching you during the debate. It's vitally important that we not just take the presidency, but also the House and the Senate, because they're going to cock block us if they get any of these things.
We have to start, like, it sounds lame, but like, bro, we have to change. We have to change so much of our media landscape. Like something has to change dramatically, because we are on an unstoppable road right now where we have a lot of bad assumptions, and I don't know who can change them, because as soon as you talk against these assumptions that more speech is better and the truth will always rise to the top and humans want to know what's right and true, like these assumptions are poisoning our landscape. And now you have these like masked accounts that are owned by a fucking co-opted like foreigner who is destroying our entire media landscape, and there's nothing it seems that anybody wants to do about it or can do about it. It's fucking unhinged. It's insane right now that some of the most popular online voices in American politics might be Russians, and we have no fucking idea, or might belong to foreign countries, or are just people. Who the fuck are any of these accounts? Like, it's insane that there's no question asked about any of this. It's unreal. Yeah.
Yep, Destiny's coming around to Nikki Haley's proposal of de-anonymizing
They
the
stand
internet.
true. Yep. Well, not the internet, but at the very least, if you're an account that does any type of media reporting with any following, you should have to. You should, or at the very least, your nationality should be public. There should be a way that third party government, whatever, like verifies it, and it's made known. There's no way that anonymous people should be holding large sway over how people view politics online. That's unhinged. It would have never happened in the history of any country ever, anywhere on planet Earth. Can you imagine the year 1810 in the United States, that there are like anonymous authors that are writing letters from fucking across the ocean about political stuff going on in America? Nobody knows who the fuck any of these people are, or that there are these it's just insane. It's unhinged.
Yeah, I mean, democracy requires a broad framework of institutions for it to work well. Obviously, the framers thought that one of those institutions that was important was the free press. And of course, one of those institutions that's becoming more relevant is social media and the ability to spread information online. And yeah, there probably does need to be a radical reimagination of how we regulate and interact with sort of online media and traditional media in this country. But I don't know. The issue is that that seems to be a very important issue, but an extremely low salience one. Like, I don't think either of the major parties that's not even really on their radar outside of like, oh, we should ban TikTok, which is okay, I guess. But I mean, that's not a huge,
It's not approaching what's
big
going on.
reform. Yeah, exactly.
And that people don't view this enough, but like, your rights come with responsibilities. Like, it only works. Democracy is not the natural state of human being, right? Our natural form is hunter-gathering, okay? For a democracy to work, takes a whole bunch of unnatural, bureaucratic, institutional, cultural, civilization-wide buy-in, society-wide buy-in to make it work. And people think that you just have like, oh, we all these rights, we have them, we just need more of them, and everything will be great. No, that's not true. There are like obligations that have to be upkept in order to maintain, the work of the country. And it's so, I don't know, man. It's pretty fucked right now.
Yep. How do you feel?
think
We
it's
gotta,
kind of
we gotta
like,
ban the sorting algorithms, Destiny. We gotta ban them. Get rid of them.
Kind of boy, you said it was a low salience issue. You think it like kind of like Supreme Court reform, like we talked
I
about
think so.
yesterday
I
or the
mean,
day before.
I've talked about this more on my channel, which is that I think there's a lot of room to actually do a lot of stuff in government that you just don't campaign on. Republicans do this all the time, right? Republicans, they never campaign on cutting taxes for the rich. Every time they get a chance to do it, they do it, right? And they never seem to suffer significant electoral consequences for doing it. And I think that there's a lot of sort of low salience issues like that are actually very impactful from a democratic perspective. Like, for instance, I think you could certainly expand the welfare state significantly and make it a much more efficient institution. And I don't think you'd suffer significant electoral consequences from it. If anything, it would be positive, because it seems like when welfare programs are enacted, people really like them. They just don't like hearing that they pay taxes for it, but they actually like the programs when they exist. I think that the Supreme Court could be one of those issues, depending on what exactly the Democrats do. And social media could be another one of those issues where the Democrats could probably govern slightly more radically than they're campaigning. One thing that we talked about on Live and Learn was that the Kamala Walls platform is so skinny. it's so skinny, the stuff that they're running on right now. It's like expanding the EITC, which who even knows what that exactly means. Basically a baby allowance. You have a baby, big tax credit. And we're going to build 3 million new homes with some vague combination of banning private equity investment in housing, and also trying to encourage liberalization of zoning. And then the fourth thing was the unrealized capital gains tax. It's just a very small platform, all things considered. The biggest thing might be the child tax credit. I'd have to imagine they're going to do more things than just that. And so that's my optimistic hope. It's like we got to hopefully do more stuff in office if we have a unified government. But we'll have to see, I guess.
Yeah, I've just become more radicalized, like I said, on Supreme Court reform than I've ever been. I was always pretty radical, but Michael Stokes Paulson, Stephen, who co-wrote that 14th Section 3 14th Amendment case, he for 30 years he's been writing some pretty good papers about like re-examining separation of powers and how actually the other two branches also have a constitutional duty to interpret the Constitution, that the Supreme Court is not supposed to be the final arbiter, and we're not supposed to live under judicial supremacy. And I've been making my way through, I think this is the third paper of his, and he's making a really compelling case that basically the implication that so many of us took away from Marbury v. Madison was not judicial review, but judicial supremacy, where the court gets the final word on the Constitution in ways that impose parameters on the other two branches, but the court can actually contradict itself. So it's like the court makes a ruling, but because stare decisis isn't binding and the court can overturn its own precedent, it's like Congress and the president are bound by the court's interpretations, but the court is not bound by its own interpretations. And this idea that if you have somebody who is an absolute interpreter of law, by definition, they are the true lawgiver and not the people who actually wrote the words to begin with. And he cites Federalist Papers and ratification debates and makes a case that, James Madison and Alexander Hamilton, they wanted the president and Congress to also interpret the Constitution in a coordinate way with the Supreme Court, and that when they kept talking about how the Supreme Court's supposed to be the weakest of the three branches, that they were actually making the case that the president not acquiescing to Supreme Court decisions is a valid check and balance, that was one of the checks and balances they intended to prevent judicial supremacy. So I'll send you the link to it because it's really interesting shit, especially if you're back on Vyvanse and you're down to do some deep dives into reading. But I think we definitely got to do some shit differently with this court. It just doesn't make sense as it's currently constructed.
Sure.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate though, because what I really worry about, and this is like this is something that I guess is nice to worry about because it means we won big. What I worry about in some regard is the Democrats do outperform their polls. Kamala wins, election, becomes the first woman president or whatever, takes office. We overperform in the Senate. We have 51 senators, but we also don't have Joe Manchin. We don't have Sinema, and we have, 250 members of the House or something like that. We got all those things, but then Democrats still just don't do big, bold actions, right? That would be very disappointing. The big excuse for why we didn't get $4 trillion of social spending out of the Build Back Better plan was, Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema, they won't allow us to do those big plans. We can't just keep coming up with a new person to make an excuse about. Obviously that exists, if it does exist, but hopefully Democrats in general as a caucus are going to be able to hold together in 2025, I guess it would be, if they do win big like that, and hopefully pass some good legislation, some pretty giant legislation, but we'll see. Gotta win first.
Yeah.
See what
Well,
happens.
fellas, it was good chatting with you. Hope you all have a wonderful night. And Take Engine or anyone else who disagrees with my Supreme Court ideas, you are more than welcome to hit me up and we can have a discussion about it. Would love to talk about it one-on-one or on an episode of Live and Learn.
Yeah,
Hey, buddy.
Messiah, he talks about the Supreme Court like socialists talk about landlords. It's ridiculous. This guy is very, very anti-Supreme Court at this point in his life, it feels like.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Big,
Well,
big no
right.
Supreme
Love
Court.
you guys.
guy.
Bye.
I love you guys. Be careful.
See ya, Destiny.
Stay
Bye,
safe,
guys.
buddy. All right. Well, I'll try to stream for at least 2 hours tomorrow. Be careful. I love you. Stay safe. Ribbon, cappuccino, 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 cappuccino. Oh, advertising canvassing. Yeah. What is this?
I thought he wasn't a terrorist, but if he's a terrorist, I'll tell him to stop because that's not cool. They're like L terrorist.
Oh, good one. All right. What do we have? Do I have anything scheduled tomorrow? Who the fuck knows? Oh, the canvassing event. If you guys want to canvas, we'll be in Wisconsin in like 3 days, I think. Jesus Christ. Here you go. Sign up if you want. We'll be there. Have fun. Burrito, cappuccino, 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 my dude. So I will catch you guys. Play the rest of the clip. You missed the joke.
If he's a terrorist, I'll tell him to stop because that's not cool. They're like L terrorist. It's debatable. Oh well, he's bad at debates, so he's definitely a terrorist.
Okay. The only time it was worth it. Good job. All right. Rep on.